When the heartbeat of India's economy pulses through the stock markets, one name stands at the helm of transformation: Ashish Chauhan, technocrat, visionary, reformer, the man who helped build the National Stock Exchange from the ground up, and today leads it as MD and CEO.
So, Namaskar Ashish ji. Our primary objective is to inspire youth. And from that perspective, sir, we believe that talking to head of NSE and considering your phenomenal achievements, it will be a great thing for youngsters to actually know your story. So what we will do, sir, we will actually divide this podcast into 2 or 3 sections. The first section, we will focus on your personal achievements. The second section, we will look into this financial inclusion, financial literacy, how youth should plan their finances. And in that, we can talk about technology and all these things also. And third thing, sir, while we are talking about this, I would like to actually request you to talk not about your successes, but more about your failures, what you learn from that, and so on and so forth. You are from IIT, and then you went to IIM, then you were the founding member of NSE, then you have worked with Reliance, BSC, and then again, you are at the helm of NSE. So, sir, let's start with your journey, sir. How was your experience? You are from Gujarat, right, sir? Basically, and Gujarati medium. And then how you went to IIT and how?
So, I am basically from a family of government servants. Both my parents were in government of Gujarat. My father was an engineer and mother was a sales tax inspector, and she was a gold medalist in economics in her time in 1960. And so they were highly educated but very poor family. And so I recall when I was young, we used to be like 10, 15 people staying in one room. And then slowly sort of slightly larger houses, but no privileges. It was, and of course my village was next door, almost 30 kilometers only.
आजकल हर एक बेटे को एक बड़ा ये चाहिए होता है, बेड चाहिए होता है.
When I come from a reasonably humble background, and I studied in Gujarati medium school till class 12th.
So what motivated you to go to IIT?
So one of my friends was actually giving the IIT entrance exam, JE. And I was not aware also, because broadly in those days, IIT was not that famous. And when you are in vernacular medium, you are not much aware. And I was not very sort of top of the class in my school, but unreasonably higher side of it. And that friend of mine was very good at electronics and all. Even at young age, you could make radios in those days and all. And so he was sort of interested. And so his father was teacher, and so they knew a little bit. And so he wanted to give that exam, and he wanted somebody else to kind of give exam with him. So he said, he's filling the form. Can he fill the form for me? And I said, okay.
तो आप दोनों आ गए क्या आप आ गए और वो पीछे रह गया?
So what happened is when we were in class 12, he filled the form for both of us. We sent it. And then we had riots in Gujarat in 1985. Okay. And that riots lasted very long. So the JE part was cancelled in Gujarat. And instead we had to travel to Mumbai. And there were severe riots, and all young people were sort of getting apprehended. And so we both decided that we will come to Bombay, look at how Bombay works more than giving exams. But because we had not prepared, frankly. And so we came to Bombay. We stayed his uncle's house in Kalyan. And I then got a little more exposed to the Marathi culture, because they were Marathis. And when you stay in the house for 7 days, you get to do a little more. And we would wake up in the morning, go by train to various parts of Mumbai, look around, then go back in the night. And then when the exam was to be given, we were told to go to IIT campus in Bombay. And so we went and gave that exam. And then we forgot. And we were preparing for our 12th class, which exam did not take place only. And so by the time the exam was actually taken in August, September of 1985, I had already got the admission and he did not get it. And so I came to IIT, I think on September 13, halfway into the term, because term starts in June. So almost 60% of the term was over.
So there was a cultural shock?
And I was coming from Gujarati medium. I could not form a single sentence in English.
Okay.
And whatever professor was saying, I could not understand. Okay. So I was like a zombie, in a way, moving around, trying to figure out, trying to even understand what is happening. Because IIT had even sort of clerks used to speak English, right? Yeah. So it was a big shock, and I was given a room which 3 days before only my batch student only had committed suicide, and that room had become empty. Oh. So they had given me that room. And so people thought I will also commit suicide. And behind me, in front of me, people would comment. Good thing is that I did not know English. So I couldn't reply back or even understand what they were saying. So I had to go back to my room, look at the dictionary and make a meaning of it. Sometimes even to read one page of a book in chemistry, I recall the chemistry book was called Mahan. It was actually written by a professor called Mahan.
Okay.
And so it would take me 3 hours to just read one page, in the beginning. And so it was a very tough time. And broadly, I was homesick. The rains were heavy in Mumbai. Yes. And I was getting sick because of coming from dry area. Every weekend I would like to go home. I would just go without reservations, sleep on the board of the train and go to Ahmedabad, then come back on sort of Monday morning by sleeping in the Sunday train and all. And so it lasted for 3-4 months. My results did not come till January. The IIT was getting anxious, saying that if you don't get the results, we will have to throw you out. Okay. And I was made to drop many courses because of not knowing English, but also the fact that I had joined halfway.
So anytime you thought of actually dropping out?
In a way, in Gujarati medium, I got good marks when results came. So I got admissions into the LD College of Engineering in Ahmedabad. Also, I got admission into medical college. And so I went there for 1 day each. And I realized that there also the medium of instruction was in English. So might as well go back. I will be not in the top students in Mumbai, but at least I will save 6 months. So on that basis, and of course, by that time I developed some friends and other things. And so then I said, okay, let me stay in Mumbai. Although temptation was always there to go back home in the areas which you are comfortable with. But in retrospect, I'm glad.
But then what steps you took actually to overcome these challenges? At that time, you must be very young, 17, 18
17 years old. Yeah. And I came with a trunk, that steel trunk comes, right? So all the students from those times, there was no thinking. It was more like you are used to struggle in your normal life. I am used to sleeping on the hard floor, not in those days.
But then now when you look at from IIT, again you further excelled and you went to IIM.
So what happened is it took me 3-4 years to learn English more than the engineering. Okay. And I started participating in non-education programs like youth festivals, sports festivals. So I became an expert at organizing festivals. In studies, I was getting not that great marks, but in the extracurricular, I excelled because I could talk to in Hindi with workers and coordinate and also, and it was giving you some sense of achievement probably in retrospect. But whatever the case, it took me some time to learn English, and I thought I was a very bad engineer at the end of it. Although fourth year was a good year in terms of marks, but I'm good at managing things because that was apparent. I was like one of the best in organizing things. So I said I will go for IIM entrance exam. So I gave GATE also, and I gave CAT also. And to my surprise, I was also scoring very highly in GATE. So it was sometimes you don't know what you know. So yes. And it has been my life all the time that most of my talent or whatever other people know rather than me knowing, because I always think that other people are similar to you. Why would you be kind of better than others, right? And all these things happen, but life has been a series of struggles and series of failures. I failed there. I could not speak in Viva. So my friend sitting next to me will ask me question in Hindi, I'll answer. When the teacher goes out and teacher comes and asks him the same question, he will answer what I told and he will pass and I will fail. Right? So all those things I have seen students really get tense. It's not that I did not get tense. I felt like giving up many times, but somehow I kept on chugging along. And fear of failure was not there. Fear of anything was not there. In childhood, I wanted to be a monk. So I was more into religion and other things, right? So sort of in a way, it gives you grounding of not being touched in sort of a adverse way or even in a happy way. So life was going on, and then I got into IIM. So I went and I got into 3 IIMs, but not in Ahmedabad because that was my hometown. And so I got into Bangalore and Calcutta and Lucknow. Those times only 4 were there.
Yes.
And so I said, I'll go to see communism in action. And that time, Calcutta was the hub of socialist, communist government, right? And so I went there and I was completely disappointed on life there. And I realized that somehow it is not working and people don't want to work once they get some framework. And so, but the 2 years were again much happier compared to IIT because I knew English and I could converse and life was easy in some ways. I went through some foreign bank in summer training. Marks were coming without too much work. And I was used to getting lower marks in IITs. And many of my colleagues, even after 50 years or now I'm 57, many of my friends feel left out. And for me, I never felt left out because I was never in the race. I was more an observer of life and whatever came my way, I did, but I did not long for anything to do or to achieve or to prove and I did not want to do anything. I did not want to become anything.
And so you didn't plan your career in a certain
way. And in some ways, why I could have so many experiences. I mean, from designing a satellite telecom network first time in India to screen-based trading first time in the world to running cricket teams and setting up mobile systems and refineries and automation of refineries and power plants and lots of things, including schools, colleges, is because I did not think that I have to do something. I had to just apply the basic engineering which you learn is how to solve problems.
Yes.
Right? And so you apply your brain on a first principle basis, sometimes on accepted wisdom basis, but sometimes accepted wisdom is not that great.
Right.
Because the life has changed, technology has changed.
But then what pushed you towards this NSE thing? Because I think you're the founder member of NSE, right?
I used to always think people should figure out your talent and not go by your clothes or other things. And IIMs have this placement time, and people wear jackets and look very handsome and do all that things before that.
You also look good.
But, I used to be like a little sort of in a mindset that people should not go by our clothes.
Right.
So I used to go in those placement in t-shirt and jeans, and slippers. That was my normal dress also. And so I would go, and most of the time those guys will not like you because you are not sincere. So don't try to unnecessarily impose your views on others. Why I'm telling you this, sometimes when I look back, that was wrong on my part.
Yes.
To think too much of yourself,
Yeah.
On third day of the placement, which was not literally first day you get it, you are supposed to be very good, right? So third day, there was a company called IDBI. It was the largest financial institution.
Yes.
And I had applied to only 3 institutions, to ICICI, IDBI and IFCA. Those were the 3 institutions. I wanted to work in finance, into long-term finance.
So तब से चालू है कि IIT वाला बाद में finance करेगा?
ऐसा जरूरी नहीं है, but I had done IIM, then I had done more finance courses. Interviewers were curious about my trace and other things, but initially, and then we started chatting and it lasted for 45 minutes on various economics theory. Probably they liked my mindset or whatever, but 45 minutes of general chat and then I got that job, right?
In IDBI.
In IDBI. And so my father wanted me to be in Ahmedabad. So he told me between the exam got over and the job to start, I had few days. So I went to Ahmedabad. And he said, you can work here also. And I said, no, I will work in Mumbai. And so I came to Mumbai. After joining, I realized that the doctor who had done medical test had said that I had some TB.
Oh.
And so nobody figured that I had TB. And my family has some doctors also, and never had that type of situation.
It must be just positive.
They said, no, if you don't remove this, you will lose the job.
Okay.
And so within 6 months, I had to do another X-ray, and finally it was removed.
You have to take anti-TB therapy.
And also it was removed. Basically, then they gave me a flat in what they call Chamari, where 3-4 people stay together at Malad, which is like 30 kilometers from where I was working.
How long was your stint with IDBI?
I joined in 91 March. And that time we were just liberalizing. We were in balance of payment crisis and things like that. And we were liberalizing, and the stock market prices going up. Government thought it's a good policies they are bringing. That's why markets are going. But effectively, some stockbrokers were taking money from RBI, putting into stock markets, and that became known as Harshad Mehta scandal in 92.
Yes.
So 92, the government decided to set up a new exchange called NSE.
Okay.
And IDBI was told to set it up.
Okay.
And IDBI was known as the financial institution which does all these things. Like it set up SEBI, it set up Exim Bank, it set up SIDBI, and many other institutions. So 5 people were selected. And the story goes that they were like top 5 young, bright people. And I was just 1 year into the job. And I was not into the reckoning.
Right.
But one of the bright young persons said, no, this is not going to work because it's technology. And also stockbrokers run the exchange, not the bureaucrats.
Yes.
So this is not going to work. And so he dropped out. And so they wanted somebody who couldn't say no. And I was completely unaware of all this politics. So they said that you are working on 9th floor. Now you have to work on 19th floor. So I started working on 19th floor with new team. Okay. And that's how I got inducted into.
At that time, whether you thought that NSE will become so big and, because at that time, I think stock market, because I have also seen where people used to shout. That was what used to happen. And now we see a huge amount of tech and things like that involved. Now a lot of AI getting used. So how is this journey, sir?
In those days, it was supposed to be a model exchange. It was, in a way, outcome of a big scandal,
right,
which shook the entire nation, right?
Yes.
And so government had to look to be doing something. They wanted to genuinely do something. And the technology which we were trying to visualize was actually a fantasy. There was no such automated exchange.
So, उस time भी वैसे ही चिल्लाते थे, NSE में भी.
NSE था ही नहीं. There were 22 other exchanges. And they were all floor-based. But even New York Stock Exchange was floor-based.
Yes.
Chicago was floor-based.
Yes.
London was floor-based. And NASDAQ was screen-based, but it used to have phones.
Yes.
So people placed orders. Other people saw if you had to trade, you called up the other guy, not match the system. But we visualized that it'll match the orders. Now, to match the orders, you require continuously working computer systems.
Right.
Those days, computer systems did not work continuously in India or across the world.
Yes.
We did not even have telephone lines. If you wanted telephone line at home, it took you 5 years to come to your house.
8 साल 10 साल भी लेते.
And most of the time it did not work, right? In that context, we were trying to set up a nationwide exchange. It was a fantasy only.
And 5 people only.
And 5 people, and nobody had worked in stock exchange before. Nobody was an engineer who had worked in IT. I was a mechanical engineer. And I was the youngest person in 5-member team. The nearest old person was 6 years elder to me. So I was like a peon to them, saying ki chai leke aao, to you bring chai. Then they'll say, no, now we don't like doing interior decoration. So you have to do interior decoration of the premises. You have to buy licenses because import licenses used to be there. So I would go out into the market, try to figure out. So I learned a lot. But if I had thought that I've come from IIT and IIM and all, and this is below me, then I would not have learned those things which are basically considered mundane, but that is how life works. Life works in trenches. I mean, in IIT, clearly we were what I call non-academic students. We were not in top of anything except extracurricular. And so you don't have to be the top in your department or your batch or even middle. Even the last person of the batch
Can create miracles.
can do things if they add value to themselves every day. So I suddenly, when I joined IDBI, I became very sincere by quirk of fate. I was very insincere in terms of the studies towards IIT and IIM, but then I became very sincere in my job and I started doing everything myself, typing, doing spreadsheets. And that's how I got a reputation in IDBI. I'm good at doing IT. Well, spreadsheets is not IT, but when people don't know IT, they think this is how it is, right?
Yeah.
So that's how I was told to do IT for the NSE. I was also only Gujarati, and Gujarati was the lingua franca in stock markets those days. Out of 23 exchanges, at least 15 used to have notices in Gujarati.
Barabar hai.
So that is how I could understand, other people could not. So that's how I was also told to develop equities market. And the bond market, which was more a Thai, English-speaking market, that was supposed to be done by somebody else. Otherwise, most of what was NSE and what you see as NSE was actually developed by me, but not knowingly that it will become so big. It was just a work.
So how long you worked for NSE in your first stint?
So 92 is when I started working on that. I did the project report, I did the articles of association, I did all the interior decoration, design of systems, processes, satellite telecom, got it working. And then 94 is when we started operations.
Okay.
And I ran the operations till 2000.
Okay.
And by 95, NSE had become very large compared to BSE, 95 and in 11 months.
Okay.
And then I started working on derivatives trading. Nifty was created by me. And so it was like running one after. Depositories were set up. There also I had to participate in setting them up, the NSDL. And then clearing corporation was set up. So most of that work happened so fast that I did not, I went to a training in US for 15 days. And then people were asking, you are married or not? And I was not married.
Okay.
And so that teacher asked, why are you not married? At
no time.
Age 29 or something. I said, I had no time. I'm so excited doing my work.
Yes.
So I don't want to get married. So that's how it was time of tremendous changes in India. And changes today are even more and more accelerating. So changes are happening so fast. But in those days, it was a breath of fresh air. And I could do things, design things. And there were only, India used to produce probably 500 computer science engineers. We had some exposure because we were from IIT. So we had some understanding of computer because we could do some programming in Fortran and BASIC and all. But very few people in the world knew computers. And we were early birds in a way. But we were not computer science people, right? And I had never worked as an IT person. But all this we did it from first principle. And the results were phenomenal. After NSE became successful, New York became automated, London became automated, Japan became automated. We were the first automated order matching system in the world. Although there were small exchanges which were there like us, but they were like too tiny. Even now they are tiny.
Okay.
And so we were the role model for the world, but we also started the entire IT for India because there was no similar project in India. This was the first project of India which was being used in Coimbatore, in Dibrugarh, in Jorhat.
Okay.
Because the screens were there, satellite was connecting, and those basically was giving you 2 seconds response time, less than 2 seconds, anywhere in India. And people were actually see it with their own eyes. It was like a magic, And India did not have telephone lines. In that context, NSE was the first IT project of India which became in-your-face IT. It gave Indians confidence. Most of the vendors who are now multi-billion-dollar companies, they used to bring their potential customers to NSE to show that India can do it.
Yes.
Then these Y2K problems happened for the world. And showing NSE, they got all those contracts and they became very large. But NSE is where India's IT story also started.
If I understand correctly, that you are saying that way, NSE was the pioneer of using technologies. It was ahead of the curve.
It was the first IT project which was in public in India, which gave India confidence. It was the mother of IT in India.
Okay.
Right? And it was also the first fintech of India because it was financial technology.
Yes.
Basis this, whatever I developed later on, The banks became automated using.
So now, how aggressively NSE is looking at artificial intelligence, data science, the emerging tech kind of a thing? How aggressively you are investing?
30 years now our operations have happened. 31st year is going on, and we are pretty much at the cutting edge of technology. There is nothing similar in the world. I mean, in 6 hours, 15 days, we receive 2,000 crore orders on a good day.
Okay.
Comparatively, UPI, which is another digital public infrastructure, ours is also digital public infrastructure.
Yes.
UPI does 1,600 crore orders in 1 month.
Right.
24-hour days. We do it in 6 hours, 2,000 crore orders. And our response time is 100 microseconds. 1 second as a million microseconds. 50% of all orders in the world on good days go through NSE. When value is lower compared to other parts of the world, but 50% of all orders and trades on many days go through NSE across the world. We are now, in terms of orders and trades, larger.
So how big is your team here which actually manages this?
We have thousands of people of our own and also our contractors.
Okay.
Because we don't have to only run one system. We have like 250 plus softwares.
Supercomputers, how many you have?
No, we have literally thousands and thousands of them.
Okay.
And our budgets are on IT are amongst the largest in the country. But we also try to use it frugally. See, India is known over 30 years for its frugal IT, right?
You have an R&D team also which actually looks at putting new algorithms and those kind of things which can be actually published.
Yeah, we do this as part of our life because we are the best in the world in terms of the technology. There is no Google, there is no Twitter, there is no Amazon which can match, because what you ask Google, they give you answer what they want, not what is asked or what is correct. Even ChatGPT makes up facts. Amazon, anything they are trying to market to you. But every time 2,000 crore orders come in 6 hours, I have to check whether your order can match. I have to create a new order book, give it to the entire market equally at the same time and correctly. If you're asked to buy at 100 rupees per share, if I say no, you've bought it now 101, you are not going to agree.
Right.
So I have to not only give you correct information to millions of people on 2,000 crore times within 6 hours. There is no similar intensity system in the world today. We don't market it, we don't appreciate. Neither we are billionaires who people listen to, because we get impressed by billionaires and we think they get wisdom because of the money, which sometimes is true.
Yes.
But broadly, there is nothing even remotely similar on IT in India. Or there are very few examples of similar systems in the world.
Okay. So you said that on daily basis you handle something like 2,000 crore kind of orders, right? It means that large number of Indians now have started investing in stock market. There is a lot of youngsters also now getting into stock market. So I would like to actually touch upon this point about financial inclusion, financial literacy. Because on one side we have this youth which wants to get rich quickly and they think stock market is one of the best options. Some people even are going for crypto, which is still not very legal in this country, and the way crypto is going up and down. So what will be your suggestion to these youngsters? How they should actually get into financial planning, So because what I believe is that now, sir, these millennials are now going to live for 90 years, 95 years, because the way our medical ecosystem is getting developed, the way technology is impacting our life. And they are just 22, 23. So they will have to work for maybe 50 years, 55 years. Nobody knows what is going to happen in 55 years span. So many people or many youngsters are not actually thinking from that broader perspective. They are really behind quick bucks kind of a thing. So what is your suggestion to them? Because you have worked in NSE, you have worked in Reliance, you have worked in BSE, and now you are at the helm of this.
See, you can talk a lot.
Yes.
And nothing happens. And one technology comes And if you use it well, like Jandan Aadhaar Mobile
Yes.
and UPI,
Jam.
you change the country, you change the world, right? NSE comes and you change the country, you change the world. For me, that is the moral of the story. Now, how do you create wealth? What is wealth? If you don't understand, you will keep on running after wealth, which may not be actually existing after some time, right? And so, the way I look at it is gold is considered wealth for variety of reasons. I used to take lectures on what is the concept of money. A lot of people wanted to make gold from thousands of years, 10,000 years back, 5,000 years back. And basis that, they created a framework called alchemy in English.
Yes.
And that alchemy was about how to create gold, right? And nobody could create gold. But they tried and tried and tried. And then they started understanding the metals and many other things. And a new science framework was developed called chemistry.
Yes.
After which a new science was developed called physics, and then biology, right? So basic three sciences were developed out of the need to manufacture money or wealth,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And today people are trying to manufacture money in different ways,
Yes.
right? But the wealth is not money. And somewhere on the line, you require money, you require wealth, without which life becomes very difficult. And one must try. And India, especially given our philosophical situation over thousands of years, we don't appreciate money, but we should. As a country, we should start appreciating money, how people make it, how to make it, and all that. At the same time, you have to understand that there will be people who will be able to make fast money using anything like AI or crypto or even stock market. But everyone can't do it. And that money, even if it comes, you may not be able to handle it, or you may not be able to run with it for long.
Yes.
It'll also go away the way it comes, right? So you have to not only do figure out how to make money. If you start with little
Financial
money,
planning.
like I did, I had zero money. I came with a steel trunk and nothing else, right? To Mumbai. And if you don't have money, you have to take lesser risk. You have to create a little kitty and then move on and on. But if whatever you have and your parents have, you sell and start speculating, most probably you are going to actually lose money. So I give a story sometimes to students. There is a proverb in Hindi or in Gujarati saying, "Paiso paisa na khench," means the money attracts money.
Barabar.
And so one person had one gold coin in the old times, and the king had kept like a mountain of gold and put a cage on top of that for people to see how much money the king has. And so that guy had heard this money attracts money. So he would take his gold coin, and every day in the night he'll go and sit there and show that mountain of gold that you come to me because I have this gold coin. After sometimes he felt like sleeping, and his gold coin fell and went into the king's money.
King's money.
So money attracted money, but your money went there.
Yes.
So don't try to get unnecessarily attracted. Take risks which are handleable, but because otherwise you can ruin your life.
Yes.
Right? And for me, today's the amount of wealth you can create by adding value to yourself, learning technology and newer technologies. See, wealth gets created by change of technology. The technology used to change very slowly. Now the technology is changing very fast, which means the wealth is also getting created very fast. Earlier only you required a lot of...
or even
vanished also. Earlier you required a lot of money to set up plants and then create more money. Today you require a little bit of money, a lot of brains, a lot of hard works, and you can create more money. So earlier it was called capitalism, which required a lot of capital. That's why it was capitalism. Now you require less capital. So I call it capitalism without capital. So today, everyone, you and me, I started with nothing. But there are millions like me in India and in the world who started with nothing. And not from traditional background, like Nandan Nilekani or Narayan Murthy. They don't come from traditional business background. No money. They started something, they are billionaires.
Yes.
Right? That is true with Binny Bansal or even the Swiggy founders or Zomato founders, or many other examples are there. So you can actually make your money by understanding technology, using that, applying that to solve problems, and you can create immense wealth, right? And beyond a point, of course, that wealth is not going to be used, but it's not that you should not create wealth, right? India should, and we worship wealth on one side, right? Lakshmi ji, we worship, but still most of us used to think that wealth is not worth it. Today, after so many years and literally wanting to be a monk, and I still think I don't require that much money, but the society has to be aspiring to create wealth for itself, and wealth comes out of technology.
Agreed. But sir, what will be your message to our youngsters from a financial planning perspective? Whether they should, how aggressively they should get into stock market, or how these new investment opportunities which are there, how they should look into it, whether they should invest in foreign stock exchanges or in US and other places, or they should go for conventional. So what is your view? That's one question. The second question is, sir, because now we are getting digital, and if you just go on YouTube, there are zillions of these influencers which are out there giving out opinions about invest in this, invest in that, how this share is going to move in next few days, and so on and so forth. The youth gets actually confused, sir. Even my son, to be very honest with you, has already started investing. He is 19, 20. But he also gets influenced by some of these people, and many times I had to have a discussion with him, ki Baba, let's look at things in a much more, what we can, detailed manner. So what is your view on it, sir?
If you want to buy a telephone, mobile, we do a lot of research, right?
Right.
But when we want to put in money in stocks or even derivatives, 1 lakh rupees, we do it based tips.
Yes.
Right? So 20,000 rupees phone, we are making so much efforts, right?
Yeah.
But 1 lakh rupee investments, we do it saying, no, ye bhav upar jayega, niche jayega, some influencer has said. See, if influencer was correct, he would not be telling on the television or telling you on social media. He will be first making the money. Most of the time when they are giving you to tip to buy, they are actually selling.
Yes.
That's how they make money, right? So don't think they are there to service you or they are there for your benefits. They are not. And that is where there is, in a modern life, there is too much noise, right? So if you have to plan your life basis what you can take risk, you can invest a little. You have to invest, of course, for your insurance, your family's insurance, life insurance, health insurance. Then you have to go for the fixed deposits. Then you have to go for house. And if you have all that, then 5-10% of your total wealth, if you invest in equities or other risky assets, equity is a risky asset, right? It goes up and down very fast.
Right.
And many of us may not be able to handle that. And derivatives, if you are not an expert, don't even try. So, and similarly, crypto. Don't even try what you don't understand. Just because somebody has got a money made, that doesn't mean you will be able to make money there, right? So be very, very careful. And your money gained very difficulties, right? Hard work.
Right.
Don't lose it unnecessarily, right? So these are all things which people don't tell you. And so much of noise happens. Basically, there is a book by Daniel Kahneman on signals, and it's like in earlier time when we are young, we used to do radio tuning, right? Yeah. So you do tuning and there is a lot of noise. And suddenly you get signal, right?
Yes.
Today's youth or today's old people also need to figure out what is noise and what is signal, right?
Right.
If you don't, you're going to go after bad noise and lose your money, your life, your happiness. Figure out the signal, stick to it. But again, there also, life is very uncertain. Things may go wrong.
Yes.
And that's why invest in equities only what you can afford. And similarly in other all risky assets. So don't even try. At the same time, if you want to be an expert, work with somebody, under somebody, some brokerage houses, some portfolio managers or something, get your certificates done, try a little, then go higher and higher. But you have to be an expert to trade in derivatives or trade in equities frequently, because buying in the morning and selling in the afternoon is not investments.
Right.
You have to be there for long term and you have to study how the companies work, how the markets work, how economies work, how the world economy works, how the industries work. Then only you should be able to invest. If you don't have time, try to go with some experts like mutual funds whose job is to invest. and who are kind of good at it, right? So that's where never try to do self-medication. Similarly, never try to be expert in finance if you are not, right? And that is true with me also. See, my job is to run an exchange. So you think I am expert in investments, but my funds are invested by mutual funds, not by me.
Okay.
Right? And that is how we are people who have finite time, right? And expertise you have to respect. Right? So, of course, it is possible that one expert may not be that great always. So you divide over 5-10 mutual funds and all. But if you are not having time, please don't sort of try to burn things unnecessarily.
You said it very rightly that there is a lot of noise out there. So whether NEC is trying to put out some kind of a system to actually help people understand whom they should trust, whom they should not trust, because now there is already some movement is going around where some of these influencers have to actually register themselves and so on and so forth. Apart from that, whether you are coming up with some kind of programs to educate youth on these aspects, that Baba ye dekho, because it is coming from NSC, it is coming from BSc, so these kind of things are going to be far more reliable. I know you will not able to give tips on those kind of things, but at least from a training perspective.
The greed is such that it's very difficult to train people on.
Right.
But overall, we do around 14,000 programs with schools, colleges, self-help groups. We go to various cities and do things to teach them how to invest wisely and what all need to be looked at and things like that. And similarly, in many states today, like Uttarakhand, we are training 15,000 college-going students for 60 hours.
Okay.
And getting them certificates also. Whoever passes those certificates, then we take them for higher certificates and all. And we have a tie-up with, say, Karnataka. In their universities, we run 1 or 2 courses officially. Whoever wants to take in BA, BCom, BSc, so that they understand concept of finance, how to invest, how to open your bank accounts, what not to do while even transacting payment by UPI and other things. And so we do have now tie-up with at least 7 or 8 governments in different states. We do run 14,000 programs. We have a lot of advertisements on social media, on television, on print saying what not to do. We don't ever say
what to do,
that invest in stocks or trade in stocks or trading derivatives, because we want you to study well, and if you don't, we advise you to go through experts like portfolio managers or financial advisors or mutual funds.
The third section which I talked about initially when I introduced that, we will talk about failures and those kind of things. Certainly in your initial journey, you talked about failures and those kind of things. This is very important for us. The reason is because we see a lot of depression cases, suicide cases within our youngsters. They don't know how to handle failures. They are very young and then they get into depression. And now currently there is a celebration now going around that celebrate depression, that kind of thing. Everyone talks about it and those kind of things. But how they can avoid getting into it? What kind of positive aspects they should look into? So I would like to have your thoughts on that.
See, failures or success are how we take it.
Yes.
Any success which you see outside is actually made up of many failures.
Yes.
And the lessons you learn, and then you improve, and then you fail again, and then you improve and you fail again. And so if any success is automatic without hard work or without failure, that success most probably will not last.
Yes.
And so the lasting success, or even most people don't, some people are lucky probably. So I'm not saying you shouldn't get a success without work.
Yes.
Sometimes you will and you should grab it.
Right.
But if you don't, you still have to.
So how you handle your failures?
And so one is to not take it so seriously or not take personally saying you are a failure. I mean, I have had many times where you feel discriminated against because of your looks, or because of the way you can't speak, or because of your marks, and 100 different ways. And I have developed a philosophy in life that when you were born, who told you that life will be fair?
Yes.
Life will always be unfair. You can see what is happening in after Operation Sindoor, that America is still favoring Pakistan, using they are being unfair. But who said life will be fair, right? So be aware it happens to everyone, not only to you. And today, everyone in India feels discriminated against.
Yes.
So you are one of them. So don't take it too hard that no, I am the only one being discriminated against. Today, because of technology, everyone gets a chance to make up, go beyond what was possible before for their forefathers, for several generations. And that is what we need to be collectively doing it. If you don't build on your failures, learn from there, try again, create your hypothesis. See, you are technical students, right? Technology students. What is science? It's not the dogmas, not the rules of thumb, but what you can observe. You create hypothesis, then you test, right? If it is correct, then only that portion is correct. The next portion, again, you have to test.
Yes.
And that is how it should work, right? So as a technology student, for me, you have immense opportunities, but it's not that you learned some 4-year course and you learned everything.
Yeah.
You've just dipped your toe.
Yeah.
You have to immerse, right? And I have this framework. Whatever you do it with all your might. For me, what time, effort, jitna bhi chahiye, you have to give. You may still fail. I have started my businesses in 2000. I failed. E-commerce.
Okay.
Right? I was funded also heavily, but still failed. From being a top 5 person in NSE, which was already large in 2000, I was on road next year in 2001.
Okay.
With 100 people salaries to account for. Right?
Oh.
And tremendous amount of worries. Saying, tomorrow what will I do? How will my people also eat? How will my family eat? Basically, if you work hard, if you try, you have to be resourceful. You have to go and beg. You have to go and ask. Don't have ego. See, for me, the ego creates this issue that I am an engineer, I cannot do this. I have sold, even after being president of Reliance Group, I have sold Mumbai Indians ticket when I was CEO there on the railway station.
Okay.
Right? For me, no work is below you. For me, if you give me a job of sweeping a floor today, I will do the best. I will try to employ technology there. For me, there is no work beneath you. Even if I don't get money, once I have to have pride in my work. And I have to try my best. I have to learn from there. I have to update. And that knowledge will help you do something completely in another unrelated area, right? And that's where people will trust you for solutions. Because you have learned some engineering degree or some PhD degree, you think world has some obligation to give you some $1 billion or $1 million or 1 crore rupees. World has no obligation to you. You have to learn to work hard and take what is due to you. And continue to work. Improve yourself. Even if something which is due to you doesn't come, it has no relevance. You continue on your path. And the journey is the most important thing, not the destination. Whatever destination, I never had a destination. Probably you have one. You want to achieve something, you want to be something, which is fine. But if you don't upgrade, update, even if you reach that destination on a helicopter, you have learned nothing, right?
Yes.
Life is about experiences. Life has shown me so many colors. Many times I think, how many industries were changed in India over last 30 years? I was at the center, right? And literally every revolution in India, I was literally at the center, from mobile to technology to IT to education. And I sometimes think, because my father had no money and I did not think that I had to become something, I could work in any area that came to me and I could sort of apply whatever I learned in other areas humbly into the new area, like selling tickets, right? Or organizing security for Mumbai Indians cricket team. So when Mumbai Indians was starting the first season, I was given the charge 3 days before, and I had to fill the stadium. I had to ensure that 7 matches in 35 days, no city had got before, and 3-hour matches. You have to think through how you will sell those tickets, because people are used to watching 8 hours, one day those days, right?
Yes.
And then you come into 3 hours, you charge higher, and you need to give good toilets, you have to clean them, you have to give good seats, you have to clean seats. When people go and
So, and you monitored actually on ground all
Not
these
that you
things.
have to go. See, that is your job. If you think
Yeah.
somebody else will do it,
Huh.
for me, unless I die, I don't go to heaven.
Yes.
So to go to heaven, I have to die. So every work I have to do it. And if my colleague or my junior doesn't do it, I will start doing it.
Okay.
For me, there is no
You
alternate.
actually sold tickets on station.
I have sold tickets even on the road.
Okay.
And I have been caught by police for doing that.
Oh.
Right? So basically, no work is beneath you. And for me, I mean, I have frisked you when you come into, if you were there coming on the Mumbai Indians match in first or second season, I would be there. I have picked up bags for cricketers and they were reporting to me.
Huh.
But that is the job. Their life has to be easy, not your life, right? So those are the things you need to understand, that what role the society gives you, you have to perform, right? And perform to the best of your ability. If you don't do that and you think somehow it is the duty of the world and the company and your family to somehow keep you happy, happiness will come from here. But if you do your job well, right? And that is what, for me, life has taught me, that I did not want to become anything. Doesn't mean you don't want to become anything. You want to become something, but be aware that it goes with a lot of gumption to work, to give your best and still fail and again come back and fight and fight and fight. If you can't do that, then you have to go for a new thing, right? So be
Yes.
aware that it's life is a series of struggles, series of failures, and your success is only what outside people see. Today also, even at, like yesterday, some journalist asked me, what keeps you awake? And I say the operations. At 9:15, NSC has to start. Even at 2 o'clock when I go to bathroom, or 3 o'clock in the morning when I go to bathroom, I see my mobile whether by sort of messages are showing me that it's going to open well tomorrow or not, in
Yes.
terms of the technology, not
Yes.
how the business works. But for me, if you are not involved, if you are not sort of taking your job seriously, how can you have a pride?
Fantastic, sir. So we will close with this positive message that no job is beneath you and you have to actually get involved in nuts and bolts of it and really work hard. So, sir, thank you. Thank you very much for sparing time with us. I think it was a very interesting session. Really nice talking to you, sir.